general strike is the answer, or some other sort of labor movement, or some sort of large direct action. You kind of sort of see a quasi sort of that going on now with, almost 11 million jobs still being open, people not going back to work to these low paying jobs, people, 4 million people quitting, I think 2 months in a row in July, in August. And you're seeing all of these, Striketober going on. So you're seeing people. I'm just hoping people are waking up. I forget who was about to talk. Was it you, Nick, that was about to say something?
We'll pivot to this because I think we're going to have fun with this next video I'm going to share with you guys. Because I'm going to show you this for a reason. We just made a pretty compelling argument against Biden and the Democratic Party. But now we have an election year coming up. And you guys see the title of this video. Do not fall for it. Don't fall for it. I know people always want to talk tough. I heard you guys last time. You guys talked tough last time, and you guys fell in line.
And they fell for
it. Don't fall for it this time. You guys think it's painful right now. If you guys think what Pramila Jayapal said is painful, if you guys think Richie Torres, what he said is painful, just wait until AOC, Progressive, Bernie Sanders and squad, they're going to campaign for Democrats in 2022. You know they're going to get the order. They're going to get the order to campaign for them. Right now, they had to make nice statements to keep morale up. But when they campaign next year, it's going to be very brutal. It's going to be a lot of gaslighting, and a lot of these heroes are going to get exposed. Now, you got a lot of people coming out trying to increase enthusiasm, even though we already showed that Joe Biden's tanking. Early polls show Democrats are screwed for 2022. There have been a lot of early signs of this. Now we have Barack Obama, who is trying to gaslight people on this. And I want to get your guys' reaction to this. Barack Obama is going to be a thorn on our side for decades.
Oh my God!
You guys see how long they live, right? Like cases are still ticking. Barack Obama is pretty healthy. He's going to be a thorn on our side for decades to come.
He's still young.
Yeah, by politician standards, he's still young. Yes.
Before I play this, I want you guys to think about this. When do you see Barack Obama come out in the media? Do you see Barack Obama come out in the media and stand in solidarity with the workers that are striking?
Never.
Do you see him come out in the media and he's like, "Yo, I'm a stand in solidarity. I think we should expand Medicare."
Nope.
Hey, Joe Biden, there's some people protesting for Medicare fraud. They say you can expand Medicare by executive order. Let's do that. Then let's rally the folks. Like Barack Obama home rallies to get us health care. You know, he don't do that, right?
Of course.
When do Obama come out?
To protect.
When do Obama come out?
To protect Wall Street. To protect the interests of the capitalists that are controlling the country.
Every time.
Every time. Shut up and dribble.
How long did it take for him to even say anything when Trump was in office? He was just on a jet ski, just hanging out with billionaires.
Silent. He was silent.
Look at her.
NBA players are trying to strike and do something for the people when black people are getting murdered by cops. Now he comes out and says, "Shut up and dribble." Imagine if the NBA continued on that strike. Imagine. This dude is the worst.
You gotta see where he comes out, right?
That's her take on the video, Nick. She already saw it. She said, "I already saw this bloody guilt trip."
Jesus.
So go ahead, Nick.
I'll let the video play. Actually, let me I'll put my headphones so I can interject. Can you guys hear it?
No, I'm not gonna bother voting this time.
You guys can hear it?
But here's the thing, we can't. I know why sometimes folks just get tired, and maybe they say, I'm not going to bother voting this time. But here's the thing, we can't afford to be tired. I remember in 2016, folks said, I'm not inspired.
Why do you think that is?
Because he was a neoliberal and he was terrible.
You suck. I just want to hear somebody say that in the crowd.
You guys realize they already pulling out Russiagate for 2022? You guys realize they're already starting that? They already saying that misinformation is going to be a big problem in 2022. They would never admit what they did wrong because it's all about saving face, it's all about saving their career. But anyway, let me continue this.
Obama was okay, but we didn't get everything I wanted, so I'm just going to sit it next time. And y'all know how that turned out. That's what happens when you're not paying attention. That's what happens when you become complacent.
Obama was okay. Obama didn't do everything I wanted him to. No, that's not the critique. I'm gonna give you guys, because we're gonna pause this a few times. I'm gonna give you guys take as well. That is not the critique. Believe it or not. My critique of Obama is like, oh my God, Obama didn't do enough for black people. No, my critique of Obama is he tanked our wealth. He built up the prison industrial complex to fund it more. He ramped up the military industrial complex. What is he talking about? And then he's like, well, you're not informed if you don't support the Democrats. No, it's the exact opposite. What's your guys' thoughts before I play it?
Well, I got, me, like I said, I got a Lupe line for everything. So, I will quote my man Lupe in his track Words I Never Said, where he said, Limbaugh is a racist, Glenn Beck is a racist, Gaza Strip was getting bombed, Obama didn't say shit. That's why I ain't vote for him. Next one either. I'm a part of the problem. My problem is I'm peaceful and I believe in the people. So that's why we don't vote for Obama. It ain't about the fact that we didn't get everything we want. It's the fact that we got nothing that we wanted. And you're a warmongering, Republican. He said it himself. He governed like a Republican. You are no different than these other, than the George Bush that you were replacing. And you're just a different face, a black face put over that. And so we see you. We see through that. And we see the horrors that you commit. And like George Carlin said, if they say that you don't have a right to criticize if you don't vote, but the reality is that when you do vote for these people, you don't have a right to criticize because you are a part of putting them in power. All right, you have done your part to put them in power. So it's really the people that do vote these people in that don't really have a right to criticize. But me, if I stay home and I don't do that on election day, then I do feel like I still have a right to criticize them. So
the people who the OGs who watch my old YouTube show, they know I have a really hard time playing these politicians talking without stopping the video. I have no idea how people listen to these people and not immediately repost. We are 30 seconds in. I am repost. I used to think that Pete Buttigieg did a bad Barack Obama impersonation. I used to think, in hindsight, Pete Buttigieg nailed it. Because after I heard Pete Buttigieg, I can't unhear him when I hear Barack Obama speak. Seriously, like ignore his cadence that he tried to imitate a Baptist church pastor. Yes. Ignore that and listen to what he say. It's exactly like Pete Buttigieg. It's just Pete Buttigieg didn't have the swagger.
That's why they love Wall Street loves Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah,
exactly.
And he's next. It's not Kamala, guys. They already dumped Kamala. It's Pete. You guys should still be scared of Pete. Let me try and play some more of this video.
That's what happens when you're not paying attention. That's what happens when you become complacent or you let your frustration lead to inaction.
One last thing. I'm sorry, guys. One last thing. I want you guys to think about this while this video play. I'm not going to be long. Think about what he's doing here. Why is he putting the onus on us?
As usual.
You guys see that? Mm-hmm. You guys were complacent. The failure is on you. Sorry, let me continue. But I want you guys to highlight that. Listen to that.
We cannot afford to be tired because of the young people here and the ones who are coming. I know it's hard. Phil doesn't claim he's going to solve every problem in New Jersey right away. I didn't solve every problem when I was president. But the fact is that as hard as it is, we can still make it better. It's hard to undo the legacy of discrimination that goes back centuries, but we can make it better. It's hard to deal with special interests who want to keep the status quo when you're trying to make the economy more fair and just, but you can make it better. It's hard in a big country where people disagree to get everybody moving in the same direction, but we can do.
Should we play the rest? Do you guys hear what he's saying?
That's Neil. He's describing incrementalism. He's describing liberalism. He's describing the whole concept of liberalism. Take this crumb and be satisfied till you get your next crumb. Fight for your next crumb. That's it. And you hold your hand like this. You get what I'm saying? It's all it's all part of the whole, it's all part of the whole thing. Like, that's a neoliberalism thing right here, right? That's the neoliberalism grip. Yes, you know what I'm saying? So, and he's trying to make it seem casual, like he's just talking off the cuff. When the teleprompter, so that's why he's moving like this. He's being more skilled. He's more skilled. He's trying. He's making it seem like he's just talking. No, he's reading that entire speech. But this is why he's dangerous. Because Barack Obama has the ability to inspire and speak, which is, for a president, is one of the most important things when trying to be elected. Being able to talk off the cuff, he is able to do that at some time. You get what I'm saying? He's able to push the right buttons, and he is the politician who has put on a clinic on how to talk like a progressive, but not actually be a progressive. That's why so many young people voted for him initially, because he knew the speak. He knew how to say the words like AOC, like the squad, but not governing, not following through with those things.
He's trying to push in sorry.
Go ahead, Z.
I said he's trying to push in the guy he's campaigning for, Phil Murphy. He literally is a Goldman Sachs head.
Obama, look, that's his boy.
That's his boy. That's why he's there.
It's like, but like he's saying all that, but it's like, look what he's trying to push through real fast while you're not paying attention to him, Republican bashing and bashing you guys. Well, not you guys, but the people in the audience.
Right. Right. It's like we didn't win in 2016 because you guys weren't motivated. You guys were frustrated. It's like, how about it's your job to motivate us to get to the polls? How about that? How about it's your party's job to offer something that makes us want to vote for you, instead of just saying the other guys has less slop than ours, so come over here to us. That's basically essentially the choices we have. There's slop over here, and then there's a teaspoon more slop on this other one. So which one do you want?
And it's so crazy that it's like it's still inspiring, because when you really listen to it, he is just telling you, do you want this piece of crap or this piece of crap?
Exactly.
This piece of crap with a cherry on top of it. So
you see the gaslight? You see the gaslight? Because I told people I don't have Trump derangement syndrome, because all these people lie just like Trump. If you know Barack Obama's record like all of us do, every single fucking thing he said was a lie.
Right.
Like, he pretended that the economy was doing great, bro. The economy crashed under you. He pretended that he held Wall Street accountable in that speech. You literally bailed him out, and you literally gave him immunity. So what he was saying, everything he said in his speech, and I'm going to finish the rest of the clip, and that's why I paused it, it's just like Trump, bro. This is literally everything he lied about. Every single damn thing. This is why I didn't have Trump derangement syndrome. He lied about all that stuff.
I think Liv has a thought before we go back to the clip. Liv? No? Okay, yeah. All right,
I was just saying that was all facts. All facts.
So let's watch the end of the clip. It's just an extreme gaslight in him just trying to rewrite his legacy. Like, we know, if you listen to what he says there, when you know what he has done, it's insane. I'm gonna try to finish the whole clip without pausing it this time.
He said try. He said try.
You guys know, like, if you watch my whole show, I can't listen to these people without telling you guys, every sentence is a lie. Like, I tell you, I can break down every sentence they say. I can tell you why they said it. Like, I can tell, it's a gaslight on top of a gaslight that a lot of people miss. Like, I don't know how people listen to that, and I'm like, dude, this dude is just like Trump.
I got some smoke for him after, too, when you're done with the clip.
Yeah, we go Aaron first, then we get Z and then Kamali after we finish the clip here. Give me 1 second here.
Nation that goes back centuries, but we can make it better. It's hard to deal with special interests who want to keep the status quo when you're trying to make the economy more fair and just, but you can make it better. It's hard in a big country where people disagree to get everybody moving in the same direction, but we can do better than we're doing. We really can. We can make it better. And when you've got the right person in the job, we might not get every single person employed, but we can get more people, more jobs. We may not get every child the best education in the world right here in Newark. We can give a lot more kids better education here in Newark. I didn't get every American health care, but boy, we got a whole lot more people in America health care. It makes a difference when we decide to make things better. When you've got somebody in your corner who's shown you that they will work for you, who has a track record of accomplishment. You got to go out there and work for them. Not because everything's going to suddenly be perfect, but because it's going to be better. And you're preventing others from making it worse.
You got to work for them. Doesn't that say everything, that one sentence? Mm-hmm. You got to work for them. And if I don't accomplish my promises, it's your fault. Isn't it hilarious how they never lose?
Mm-hmm. The problem, Nick, is that the day that being elected went from being a public servant to being a politician, when you make being a politician a career, that begins the problem. That begins because that's how you entrench corruption. Corruption grows and gets stronger because you're there. 30 years, when you have Mitch and Nancy, this is why Nancy can just keep being speaker like this, even though she's terrible, and keep saying, oh, this is my last run, and get progressives to abstain when they know that abstaining means she's going to be elected. So this is the reason why, to me, that is very important. But let's go ahead and go to the panel. What are your thoughts on this last part, or all of this about Obama, just the idea of Obama and what he comes out for? For example, we could have used Joe Manchin with the $15 being included in the reconciliation. Why didn't Obama come out then? He came out to get Bernie Sanders to drop out. He came out to get Pete Buttigieg and I think Elizabeth Warren was still in at the time to drop out. He comes out for this.
Amy Klobuchar is who he got.
Amy Klobuchar, yeah, that is correct. Amy Klobuchar.
Elizabeth Warren staying in was also a part of her.
Also a part of it.
With that vote.
Right. So the point I'm making is he picks and chooses who to come out for. He never comes out for the things that he claims he wants. Better minimum wage, unions. We can use you at Medicare for All March, Obama. You claim that you want it. They never use that. And it's the same critique with AOC. It's the same, or it's getting to be the same critique with AOC. Somebody said she literally can get the ball rolling on a general strike. She literally can get, I'm not saying she can carry the whole general strike. I'm saying she can get the ball rolling. She literally can take millions to the Green Party. Millions of people she can get registered with the Green Party. If they really want the stuff they want, why aren't they doing it? It's because they want the career more than the stuff they want. And that's what I'm saying. Once it becomes a career, that's when it becomes a problem. So any thoughts? Go ahead.
You want to know what's scary, CJ? Because you know the psyop and the point that Barack Obama and the Democratic Party wants to hammer home. It's your fault if we don't get anything done. If the onus is on you. You know who's been repeating that? You know who learned from that? AOC fans. Mm-hmm. These are the DSA type. These are the Sam Theater, the majority report types. Any failure that happens on the left is because the red, brown line. It's because you guys didn't organize. You guys got to organize, right? Like they always put the onus on us. They always defend the politicians and they attack activists. That's the same thing they're doing. It's on us if there's not progress. It's on us if there's not change to be made. And that's the same thing they use to defend politicians.
Let's go to Aaron. I think you were going to say something, Aaron.
Yeah, I have a lot to say on this. This is wild. So the first thing I'll say is one thing that helps me see through the bullshit, no matter where someone identifies, is when I think about it from the perspective and the lens of class solidarity, right? Class solidarity. Because at the end of the day, Obama's moves are always to be within the best interest of the corporate class, right? Those are always his moves. Same thing with Donald Trump. They are the same in that regard. And what a lot of people ignore or don't understand or choose to look the other way regarding this is that neoliberalism is what got us Trump to begin with. Mm-hmm. Neoliberal, like Obama is the embodiment of neoliberalism because of everything he's saying is sounding progressive, but everything he's doing is just perpetuating the U.S. imperialism around the world. That's leaving these incremental things that don't really help, that don't really do much to truly make a difference in our lives here, and are making, cataclysmic, destruction around the world. People ignore that, and it's easy for them to ignore that when the media is not covering it. So they just, in their mind, it's like it's not happening because it wasn't on CNN or it wasn't on, all these news outlets. So neoliberalism is like at the heart of all this. And the other thing, and so when I think about class solidarity, that helps me focus on the fact that why are people registered Republicans so angry? Why is Obama so divisive? People always say I won't even say his name, but there are people on the left who are talking on these things, and they say, well, he's too divisive. These people are too divisive. But they fail to see how Obama is even more divisive or just as divisive. And from a strategy standpoint, I think it's important, this kind of ties back to the mutual aid standpoint, is that if we take our resources and where our power is, our power lies in labor, in workers coming together, regardless of where they're from, what they look like, how they talk, whatever. That's labor is where the power is. So if we can, the most dangerous thing to them, what we could do is reach out to people that may not necessarily align with us or grew up Republican or whatever, and get them to buy into what's happening right now from a class standpoint. I think class solidarity is everything, because once you can bridge that gap using that strategy, then all this other stuff is just distraction. It's just they're just distracting us, and while they're distracting us, they use people are fighting among themselves here. What are they doing overseas? Obama, I just wanted to read this. This is one of the comments. I follow this person, Gritty20202. He has great stuff. This is one of the comments he left underneath that. It says the Obama years, 5 million deportations, 563 drone strikes, 10K plus missions, attacking 5 new countries, Libya, Syria, Yemen, Pakistan, Somalia. Look how that's being continued. Biden's already bombed Somalia. Libya ended up, slavery came back in Libya. So we have all these things happening, trillions in bailouts, not to us, not to the people, but to Wall Street. Never closed Gitmo, never left Iraq and Afghanistan. And these are just cut food stamps. I mean, it goes on and on. No minimum wage increase. So he's gaslighting us, saying, oh, you didn't get everything. We didn't get anything. You didn't do anything. You sold black people and black communities out, sold them all out, and what makes him dangerous is when you call him on that. When I see allies who are white, who are leftists, who just factually state what Obama did. What do Democrats do? What do libs do? Oh, you're racist. You just don't like him because you're black. No, we don't like him because of what you've done, what he's doing. So that's why I think it's so important to have black leftists talking about this and going after. We have to go after him with everything we have, because like Nick said, he's not going away. He's going to be here for the long haul, and as long as he's here, he's going to continue to stop movements. He's going to continue to tap dance for the corporate class,
right?
Everything. And the last point I wanted to make, I was listening to something that was going on. They were talking about, so the new big thing is China. Like that's the new propaganda. Like we have China. That's what everyone's talking about. And people are, and this is what's happening right now. So we've seen it with Russia. We've seen it with China. And one of the things that I took away was that during the Obama years, one of the most arrogant things he did was he essentially, like the imperialist strategy was to not care about what China was doing and what Russia was doing. And part of the reason why Russia, messed with our plans in both Syria and what they did in Crimea in the Ukraine is because we were going at, we essentially were messing with their only hot water source or warm water sources. And they only had 2. So when we messed with their resources and we messed with their economy, it basically gave them a lane to kind of come together. And part of so now you have two very powerful countries come together in a way that for years and years and years, they were always fighting against each other. But because of the U.S. arrogance and their strategy, partly attacking Libya, which weakened Europe's like power source, energy source, resources. It weakened Europe, which is supposed to be an ally. And so we continue to basically do these blunders, like going back to George Bush, Clinton. We just blunder based on arrogance, right? And then what's that? So now we've left with this situation where China is now economically powerful, strong. Russia is in a place where they're in a good place. They've bounced back all the way from the 1990s. After when the USSR fell, they bounced all the way back. So these are powerful players that we kind of poo-poo and ignore. But now you see them lashing out. You see them realizing they maybe made a mistake. And part of why they're so desperate in the narratives and what's going on in the world is because these powerful two sides are working together. So my point is, to bring it back to this, if we on the left can work together with anyone who has class solidarity, regardless of where you're from, whether it's in the Midwest, whether it's anywhere, you know, we have the ability to really shake things up. Powerful.
Let me jump in here. As far as class solidarity, to Aaron's point, class solidarity on the other spectrum, on the other side, because the critique, I agree, more black leftists like us need to go after Obama to show that these are real critiques and has nothing to do with race. I actually brought on Margaret Kimberly from the Black Agenda Report, and the title of that video is Obama Sucks. Make sure you search that, but that is very important. But what this sets up is going to expose the fault line that travels directly through the black community, and that's the black elite and how they not really represented us. They're representing their class. So they love Obama.
Yeah.
Love. They will they will go out and ride or die for Obama. Okay? So when people like us are critiquing him, it is completely, they don't even understand why are we saying what we're saying. Like, it's so shocking to them, right, that like we have these critiques. And what's more shocking to them, what's shocking to me is that a lot of the critiques we have, or I explain, they have no idea about Obama. And in particular, the 90% drone strikes of civilians. They have zero idea, and I was one of them when I was a liberal. I had no idea about that, and I think Z was going to chime in. If I'm wrong, please tell me, and then we can go to Kamali if you wanted to chime in there.
Yeah, I mean, even in I'm in South Carolina right now, and we have our black community with churches is huge around here. His fan base, especially in the black community, still, because he didn't really get bashed like that. He's still come out pretty clean. He's gotten his reputation still looks really good, and there's still a lot of work to do in that area.
Well, especially if you let corporate media paint the picture of who he is. Like, yeah, he's the Sammy Davis Jr. He's the black person that all the white people like because he has shown and proven that, he will choose his white class members or his white classmates over, his black community or their black community. And I think you have to show and prove that in order for you to be taken in by said white communities. Nick or Liv, either of you want to jump in on the topic?
We need to Kamali.
I'm sorry. I did miss Kamali. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no. I'll make a quick point. Just to what he said, it was really infuriating just hear him talking about. One thing that he mentioned, he said that we can't afford to be too tired. He said we can't afford to be too tired. When the reality is that most Americans can't afford to not be too tired to go out there and to do this shit all over again. Right? 78% of Americans live in paycheck to paycheck. 50% of Americans, are $500 away from, a $500 emergency, away from having to, sell off their belongings or file for bankruptcy in order to cover costs. So the idea that, we can't afford to be too tired is absolutely ridiculous. You got so many people working 2-3 jobs just to scrape by because of the paltry, unlivable wage that he provided. When he came into office, it was $7.50 an hour. When he left office, still $7.50 an hour. So the minimum wage moved nowhere. And as far as we mentioned earlier on, them talking about the most progressive president, and Biden was there under that regime as well, and we saw no kind of increase in the minimum wage. And of course, the whole minimum wage began under FDR. We didn't have a minimum wage before FDR, so that's yet another one of FDR's accomplishments. And again, with the pressure of the communist and socialist parties, he also had a 100. He proposed a 100% top marginal tax rate. We're not even talking about taxing, the billionaires and the million, in the 100 millionaires at this stage. We've just lost all that sort. They talk about tax the rich, and they'll wear a nice, outfit to their, $30,000 a ticket event, but no real change comes out of that. And so one of the last things that just pissed me off in his video was just that he kept on talking about how we can get a little bit better, right? It's always a little bit better, but they're not really weighing that against the alternative. And what Aaron was saying, what Z said, the distraction, right? So Aaron talked about how it's a distraction, and that's the thing. We don't talk enough about how when we spend all of our time in electoralism, that becomes a distraction from fighting the real fights. And so when he talks about, we can get a little bit better. Oh, sure, yeah. When you put up one awful, horrific candidate against another, sure, one might be better than the other, but the alternative is we go with neither of those, and we instead direct all of our money, resources, and energy towards mutual aid, towards development of democratic worker cooperatives and these other initiatives, and through those means of direct action that we get a whole lot better. So we don't accept 50,000 Americans dying every year without health insurance under the ACA and under Obamacare. We say no, enough is enough. And if we have to go on a general strike in order to demand and get and achieve a Medicare for all and improved Medicare for all system, then that's what we do. And that's far better than these bullshit, this false idea of choice that they're giving us.
What I always say, Kamali, to people, or like Obama said, I only gave, thousands more people, or maybe he said millions more people healthcare. They're literally talking about expansion of Medicaid. And let me make sure people understand. You have to perpetually be in a state of poverty to qualify for that. Mm-hmm. So let's stop acting like that is something good. It's good in the sense that, yes, while they're in poverty, they're covered. But how about talking about getting them out of poverty? That's the discussion we need to have, not this. As long as, you have to be in a perpetual state, meaning you have to keep qualifying. You have to keep sending in paperwork to qualify because they need to make sure you're destitute in getting this care.
Poverty by their definition.
So, but let's go to Aaron, because I know you wanted to say something, Aaron. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, I was just saying, to add on to what you were saying, poverty by their definition.
Right.
Which is ridiculous, because poverty by their definition is very limiting. Like right outside of that is still a poverty type state. Like it's not livable, but those people wouldn't qualify based on their definition.
The poverty line should be twice as much. I think Nick told me that Richard Wolff, or maybe somebody else said it should be twice what it is.
Yeah. That's such a great point by Aaron, because if you guys want context, according to federal guidelines, to be out of poverty, if you are a single mother with 2 kids, if you're making $23,000 a year, you're technically out of poverty.
That's egregious.
A single mother with 2 kids. I live in a relatively low cost of living area in the Midwest. I'm in the flyover state, right? You can't live on that here with 2 kids, let alone New York, let alone California. And do you guys remember the propaganda they were using? They would say, Joe Biden's plan lifts X amount of Americans out of poverty. This is how they was able to say this, because the poverty rate was a joke. Now ask yourself, why are the progressives repeating this? Why do progressives repeat the nonsense that Biden going to reduce poverty instead of bringing up the point we are, that the poverty rate in America is a joke to begin with? I have one last thing, because before we lay off Obama, if you guys want to know the role of Barack Obama and why we must go after him, You guys saw he killed the NBA strike. Mm-hmm. He literally killed Bernie's campaign with a phone call and with an endorsement. If we do not take Barack Obama out now, we do not take him down a peg among the American people, there is nothing stopping him from crushing our movements moving forward. You guys want to see the role of Barack Obama? This is what the kind of shit you're gonna see from Barack Obama moving forward, because he's gonna live for another few decades. Look at the shit that he is putting out there in the political ethos. This is propaganda on the next level. I can break this down so many ways. Obama says change may be coming too rapidly for many.
What?
Change is coming too rapidly in this country. Do you guys know why he's saying this? This is propaganda on the next level. This is to give the illusion that there is progress, especially progress within the Democratic Party, even though it's the exact opposite. We are going backwards. You guys realize the capitalists are rewriting the child labor laws? Yep. We are going backwards. Child labor is back. The 40-hour work week is dead. We are going backwards as a society. But Obama said change is coming too rapidly for many. You see how he's fucking with the Overton window? You see how the discourse, instead of saying that our police state is expanding and too many people getting killed by our police, instead of mentioning the fact that 40% of the homelessness population is black and the homeless population is exploding, you see how he doesn't mention that? He mentioned change is coming too fast for many. And this is the thing. Once again, Barack Obama's entire onus, put the onus on yourself. He said part of what we tried to do in the podcast was to get everyone to feel a little more willing to recognize, our own faults. I'm not going to play the video, but that's what he said. So what is Obama saying? It's not capitalism that failed. It's not me that failed you. It's your failure. Mm-hmm. If you're well tanked when I was president, if you're part of the Black American, it's your failure. You should have buckled up your bootstraps. You should pull up your pants. Right. You should stop listening to rap music. Right. You should work hard for your boss.
Or this, Nick. You should have voted in more squad members.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I was about to say that. I was just about to say that, CJ.
Yeah.
They're saying the same things right now. Like we were the ones that are getting paid $300,000 to do their job. That's not how it works. We elected them. We help support them to be in the position they are so they could do things while they're there.
And I always say this about AOC and the squad and any other progressive. If you told people when you were campaigning and people were door knocking and phone banking for you that you were going to go there and cozy up to Nancy Pelosi, you would have never been elected. If you told us that from the beginning, if you went up there and said you were going to do what you did for the Iron Dome, you would have never been elected.
Right.
And that's the problem I have with just politicians in general. They don't necessarily follow through. But any last words? We do gotta. It ties into this. So I guess we don't have to have last words. So it ties into the broader thing. All of this is about stop donating to Democrats and Republicans. This entire episode, we sort of broke it down on why you should stop donating to them. Use your money in a better way to directly help somebody. Find a mutual aid fund. We're going to refer a couple of mutual aid funds that Afeni, like I said, FHL member, she has a mutual aid organization herself. Stop donating to Democrats and Republicans. That's how we're going to break the duopoly. Use those funds and redirect those funds to mutual aid. Let's build up our mutual aid infrastructure. We're talking local, we're talking regional, we're talking nationwide. What is your take on what I'm asking? Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been trying to, push this narrative for a long time as well, that we have to redirect, in the same way we talk about defunding the police, we need to start to defund the Democrats and the Republican Party, and redirect those funds, right? Just make better investments, reinvest those funds, towards places that are democratic institutions, right? So mutual aid, democratically controlled mutual aid networks, and worker cooperative movements, support worker cooperatives, voice wherever we can, because that is where we actually give power back to the people. Real, true socialist organizations, I think, that are doing the work of building the infrastructure that the rest of us will be able to use to actually enact democracy in our own organizations. As long as we are part of this online network, we're going to need ways to in infrastructure, technological infrastructure, so that we can do things like vote and build democratic consensus in whatever organizations we belong to. We can't let the same mistakes happen that happen under these capitalist, hierarchical, top-down organizations that we constantly see being corrupted. In order to avoid that, we have to build up the technological infrastructure ourselves and support those mutual aid networks and those groups that are doing the real work. So I would just urge you to support whatever Afeni is, puts forth, for sure.
Yes.
And also check out what BSA is doing with their Dual Power app.
A new movement, or creating a new movement, establishing a new movement that says stop donating money to Democrats and Republicans, or for short, defund the Republicans, defund the Democrats, or defund the duopoly. What are your thoughts on that? And also, where should we redirect our funds? Is mutual aid a good alternative?
There's so many organizations out there. If you just look to your local communities, see what you can do to help, understand the difference between charity and mutual aid. This is something that's really important. There was this website. It's mutualaidhub.org. You can basically find different organizations through that hub. They try to kind of centralize it. I think it's important. If you are going to stay within electoral politics, I think you shouldn't put too much effort into it, or at least understand that lane is there's plenty of people in that lane. There's not enough people in this lane. And the more people we have consolidating our power, consolidating our funds, our resources, not falling for the Democratic Party grift. The biggest lesson I learned about the Democratic Party is it's the biggest grift in this country. It really is. And once you understand that, just look at what they did to ending the eviction moratorium. They were taking photos, and then the next day they had the photos, sending emails out with those photos talking about all the things they did, and they fundraised off of it. And what was the outcome? Nothing changed. Not only did they leave out that 10% initially, but then, oh, sorry, nothing we can do, got overturned by the courts. It's so nothing. They did nothing, but they fundraised off. So understand that once you understand how big of a grift the whole scheme is, then it'll make you feel better to be like, well, I know for a fact there's organizations that are helping homeless in my community. The last thing I'll say is, strategy-wise, try to overlook some of the national narrative and do what you can to work locally. And I know this is easier said than done, but I truly believe in building coalition. Building coalition, no matter how hard or whatever, is really the key to all this. So I don't really talk about myself too much, but just for an example, I work with MPP and I work with DSA locally. And those groups nationally are the exact opposite. But I understand that locally, my local DSA does excellent work for mutual aid. So I'll work with them, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. I disagree with the majority of their platform, but for this community right here, locally, right now, I work with them because they're helping people right now. That's what it is.
I've heard that too. I'm sorry to interject. I've heard the same thing, that there's a lot of great local DSA, MPP. Yep. It's just national. The national narrative is not the greatest. So
if you're able to tune out some of the horrible takes you see online, and from a national standpoint, and from people who are debating that dude from DSA that debated Kobe earlier today, just if you can compartmentalize that stuff and see the work that your locals and understand that it's what you make it. I can go in there and I can push them left. My local DSA is one of the only, if not, it wasn't the only, but it was one of the few that endorsed the march for Medicare for All. We endorsed it on Twitter, and that's because my voice was heard there, and people saw it. They're like, why wouldn't I want to support this? And they supported it. Didn't have the politics behind what's going on. And as far as MPP, that's my way of working with the inside game. whether I know there's a huge divide from a national standpoint to the local states, but at the end of the day, if there's work being done, or if you in your local state, you can get a candidate on any local ballot that won't take corporate money, won't sell out the second they get there. Why not shoot all your shots? So that's my take on that.
But Liv, what is your take on this whole concept of stop giving to Democrats and Republicans? Have you ever given to a Democrat and Republican in your life? And if you did, do you regret it? Liv.
I was trying to think of that today because I wanted to be so proud and be like, well, I have never donated to a Democrat. And I was like, fuck, man, I think AOC got me. I think I might have
do you regret it?
Yes, of course I do. Of course I do. But the fact that I'm not totally sure about it, I'm going to try and, take comfort in the fact that I might have not been able to given all the money. I don't know, but I think at one point, whether it be Bernie or a squad member, I may have donated. So yes, I completely regret it, but at the same time, it's gotten me to where I am now, and I do believe everything happens for a reason. So now I know better, and I'm here now talking to y'all. Helping tell more people to learn from our mistakes and to realize, to wake up now. And to me, the main place to be donating your money at is mutual aid and strike funds. I also am doing mutual aid efforts in my communities in Annapolis and Baltimore City. My Twitter is also my Venmo handle, and also in my bio is my Venmo and my Cash App. Y'all were talking about Obama, I didn't fucking pay any mind to this because I've been fucking busy running mutual aid all day. So and this is not none of my time. I see Obama on my timeline, I was like, scroll. So I've been too busy organizing crowdfunding money with the help of all y'all. Y'all are amazing. To do a mutual aid run today. Where I was able to get a bunch of supplies for kits that I was able to go distribute out in Baltimore City, and it was great. I need to start working on typing up a little message to put in the kits as well, because Rome has really pressed me that you got to spread the message with what you're handing out. So I got to get that, working on that as well. Also, with my platform with the Green Party, as with all electoral politics right now, I think is shit, and we should be focusing on mutual aid.
Instead of giving it to billionaires, literally, these are billionaire organizations, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, who gets money from corporations. They don't need your money at all, whatsoever. So instead of giving your money to people who are already well off, give it to people who are in need, like these people from some of these mutual aid organizations. So now let's go. I believe that's our. Let's go. Oh, Nick is on break, but before we go to Nick, oh, there he goes. Because I wanted to get your comment before we close here about. I wanted you to kind of sum up just the whole concept, because I know you got a little bit more to say about it. Stop donating to Democrats. Stop donating to Republicans. This is how we're going to break the duopoly. What are your thoughts on that concept, that movement, creating a sort of movement of, promoting, stop giving them money, help each other? What are your thoughts on it?
You guys laid out, and we did throughout the course of this live stream, all the reasons why. You guys got to understand why we are such advocates of mutual aid. We don't have unlimited resources like the neoliberals and conservatives do, and I think we've been very wasteful with our funds as a movement. But also, and this is also the difference between mutual aid and charity that I think Aaron actually was mentioning, is about building a structure that we can work around, and that's the difference between charity and mutual aid, because charity is just all about top down, all about the organization and centering the organization. Meanwhile, mutual aid is about having a horizontal approach, that we have a system of solidarity. And because we have this system of solidarity, that allows us to strike. That allows us to support our comrade like Liv, who is helping with public disobedience. So not just raising funds. It's about building a structure in which a left movement can exist. So if we actually have a solid foundation of mutual aid, more people will be able to do what Liv did.
Right.
So it's more than just about the cash now. It's about how we resist the government, and without a solid mutual aid system, we can't even begin the resistance. So that's why we advocate that. Mm-hmm. And anything that directs that away from that, anything that directs away from feeding your family, your friends, your neighbors in late stage capitalism that we in right now, in this police state that we live right now, where our wealth could be taken, where we gotta pay legal fees, it's just a giant waste of our time. And the people who are class loyal, the people who are loyal to the politicians, they want nothing more than that because they value order at the end of the day because they're class loyal. But that's all I have.
Are you done?
So, yeah.
Okay.